Hey, Charlie,
Hi, Jimmy.
did you know that the Jedi Order doesn't trust prophecies?
Really?
It's a non-profit organization.
I need to go.
Oh, oh, what a start to the podcast. Welcome to episode 99, where we're going to be talking about Andor Season 2 and more celebration stuff.
Wanna buy some death stick?
Jedi.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Always a pleasure to meet a Jedi.
And my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
You failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 99. And we have a bunch of awesome chat to dive into later on. However, we do just want to start off with a huge thank you.
Yes. We have hit 5,000 followers, just over 5,000 followers on Instagram this weekend, and we are blown away by the support, by the love you guys and gals and everyone has shown us. The support, just absolutely leaps and bounds of further ahead than we thought we would be. We really appreciate everything that everyone has done for us along our journey. And, as we get bigger, we want to keep giving back because that's how we got, as we're getting bigger, we want to continue to give back. So just a huge thank you to everybody. Blown away by your support.
Yes, it means the absolute world to us. We have absolutely been bombarded on our socials. You've spammed us loads, constantly messaging us. We absolutely love it. And to celebrate, we are going to give away one of the Matt Ferguson Revenge of the Sith posters to one lucky listener. So keep an eye and an ear out on that. Now, make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And please leave us a rating on your podcast provider of choice, as it really helps us to get to where we're going to. Charlie, over to you.
I am absolutely blown away at how fast we've reached 5,000 followers. All of my sentiments, repeated. Thank you immensely, immensely, immensely. Now, everybody check your calendars because Star Wars Celebration is 10 days away. Are you packed? Are you ready? Have you double checked you've got all your bits for your cosplay? Jimmy, Jack, are you ready? No.
No.
I don't feel ready at all.
No.
Scrambling. But yeah, super excited.
Yeah, we've started to plan a few things. We've got a few things lined up. Obviously, we've got the VCN event organised by Spencer and his team. Really looking forward to that. And then I'm just looking forward to getting to celebration and meeting more people. I can't wait. What about you, Jimmy?
Mhm.
Yeah, same. So much stuff to do. We've had a little meeting with the rest of the group that's coming over with us, and we started planning going to see the, baseball games and going to different places to eat, going down to Kyoto and Osaka to see the Himeji Castle and some other places. It's just super excited. Then you throw all the Star Wars stuff in the mix, which is bonkers that we get to do. Starting Thursday night with the not so virtual cantina with Spencer and his crew. Super excited. It might be the only autograph I get that night with Kiriana. I'm super excited to finally, get to meet her in person and just maybe Marty as well. But yeah,
I'm
super
jealous.
excited. And we were talking about it this morning, and because if we're being honest, Reed Pop does not do necessarily the best job of organization, and there's always complaints. And Molly's like, how's this one going to be? Because in Anaheim, I was miserable. London was more fun because we were together, and a lot of the guys from the people that we knew. I think this one's going to be the best one. I think it might even beat Chicago finally for us. So I'm really excited for that. So can't
Pumped.
wait. There's only
Yes.
one thing that makes me sad about this celebration.
Mm.
You want to know what that is, Jackie boy?
I know where you're going with this. I think it's the
Chuck's
same as
not going
me.
to be with us,
She's not.
and that makes me sad.
Go over to you, Charlie. How's your week been?
Oh my God, my week. So everybody settle in. There's some bits of this I'll cover in Force Encounters as well, but At the end of March, I had the wonderful, wonderful time of spending the weekend at MegaCon in Birmingham, and I've got a long list of things to go through. I want to give a very special shout out to Saber Guild, who have been letting me attend events with them and spend time and teach lightsaber classes to kids, which is my absolute favorite thing to do. I love it so, so, so much. A special thank you to John, to Gareth, my best Jedi, and to Dave, Stringine Leathersmith on Instagram, who's fixed my Ray belt and my Ray cuff, which means my costume's ready for Rebel Legion.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm absolutely terrified. Oh my goodness. Um, I met so many wonderful new friends. Here is a lovely little selfie of me and my wonderful Alyssa and my new friend Liam, who does a fantastic Qui-Gon Jinn. He's fantastic. If you
I was
spot
gonna
him at a
say he
con,
looks
go and say hello. He's a joy. Look at him. I love him to pieces.
It looks like he'd pull off a
What
good
else was on my
Kanan as
little
well.
list? Oh yeah, he does actually do Kanan. That's like his
I
big
can see
cosplay. He
that
does
for
Kanan.
sure.
So I need
Yeah.
to
I
get
can
my
see
hair
that.
out. We
Yeah,
need to make it
I can
work.
see that. I can see that.
Um, Old friends, best friends, and honestly, if you've never done a MegaCon event in the UK, if my UK listeners are excited for cons, check out a MegaCon because it's honestly so so much fun. It's really calm, it's really relaxed. The numbers of people are dropped, and it's great. I love it to pieces. I think my highlight of my weekend was gifting my dear friend Jack slash Dylan does cosplay his custom mag pouch. That was really special. And obviously, I got to walk in the 501st parade around the convention
Nice.
in my costume with
Nice.
my lightsaber, and I had such a good time.
Jealous. Super,
Right,
super
thank you.
jealous.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice. What about you, Jimmy? How's your week been?
Been good. It's been busy. I think it's not as busy as the week we're about to dive into, getting
Oh,
ready to
gosh.
leave here. Um, but yeah, I got to do some cool things. I'll talk a little bit about in Force Encounters. Um, and just yeah, been a good week. The weather's crappy, ready to get out of here. So
Yeah.
get a week in Japan, which is something I never thought I would say. So cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Jack?
Yeah, not too bad. Busy, just getting ready to move to obviously a completely new country. More on
No
that
big
another
deal.
time. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy as well. And obviously, the social medias have been taken off, and there's been absolutely loads coming through on the social medias, which we're going to talk about in this week's Force Encounters.
For my ally is the Force.
Okay, so this week then we've got loads of events in the UK that are coming up. 7th of June, Fording Bridge is the place to go for and more. It's basically an event that's being organised with lots of people that were involved in the Andor series, from literally graphic designers to droid operators. There's loads, so it's a really good event down in Fording Bridge in the UK, down south, and then the complete opposite way up north. There's another event being run, Star Wars Fan Fun Day, on the 4th of May at Blackburn Rovers Football Club. I did go to, I think it was last year or the year before. Excellent event, quite a small venue, but it packs a punch with the guests that appear there. Loads of opportunity to get autographs as well at both of those events. Highly, highly recommend these for any of our listeners. And then in terms of my own Star Wars Force encounters, not really a great deal, if I'm honest. I've not done that much Star Wars personally. I've just been reaching out to people and speaking about Star Wars events. Charlie, what about you?
I had a whole weekend of Force Encounters, which has meant that sort of my week so far has been fairly Star Wars free. But I do specifically have to talk about. I posted almost incessantly on the Explore the Force Instagram stories on the Saturday, which was super fun. I don't normally do that kind of thing, and I'm proud of myself. And one of the wonderful people that I got a chance to meet is Sam Haig. He was walking around on the Sunday dressed as Cassian Andor, and his rule of thumb was that if you ran up to him and told him your favorite Andor or Rogue One quote, he would give you a copy of the Death Star plans. And I spotted
Nice.
this man at precisely about 10 past 9 in the morning as he walked past my booth a couple of rows along. And I saw him leapt over the table, ran at this poor lad at full speed, and was yelling at him. What was the line I used? It was, I give my life for a sunrise that I'll never see. The line that Luthen says at the end of his monologue. And
Great
Pam
line.
turned to me and went, "Oh, there you go." And bless him, he was a wonderful, wonderful sport. So I think that had to be the highlight of my Force encounters, and it's kept me very, very happy and excited all week because he was such a treasure, such a treasure.
Nice. I
Jimmy, did
love
you have
stuff
any
like
Force
that.
encounters this week? So sweet.
Yeah. So, yeah, super excited. We got together. I got together with Johnny Olaf and Commander Taylor, and we reviewed the first book in the Reign of the Empire book series, Mask of Fear. So that'll be coming out maybe this week. I don't know if I'll have time to get that ready to go before we leave for Japan, because we also have another interview
Yeah.
episode that we need to drop as well. But so we got to do that. It was a lot of fun. And then we all know how much I love droids, because droids remind me of dogs. And if you look at our socials, I spent the last couple weeks raising money for our local Kansas Humane Society. Found out that it was an international event, actually, as well. There were some other countries doing it, mostly here in the States. And I think they almost raised $1 million over the weekend.
Nice.
We raised, our original
Wow.
goal was 10,000. We raised over 20,000. And just the generosity and stuff like that of people for their animals, And again, we always talked, we had that one episode where we did Why Do We Love Droids? And my biggest reason was because they always remind me of my pets. Like maybe not C3PO so much, but like R2 and BB8 and BD1 and some of those like B2 emo there on their screen. It's how much I love them. And so that was pretty cool to do. And it was pretty fun. And just the support from our listeners and things like that, donating stuff. So I really appreciate that from our little Star Wars family. Plus, where would we be? We would have no Chewie if it wasn't for a family pet, right? So
Yep.
we wouldn't have that concept.
Exactly.
So there you go. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was it for Force Encounters. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but let's go ahead and dive into the news. See what's coming out of Bat 2 this week.
The people in this crowd will soon be among almost 40,000.
For those who are among the 900 with news media or promotional tickets, this sneak preview probably would be the only chance to see the Empire Strikes Back without standing in line.
Okay, so lots of new merchandise coming out now. We're getting close to Celebration Japan. Something I've actually got my eye on. I think I want this. I don't know how I'm going to get it back, but I'm gonna plan for it. So it is the new Darth Maul Hot Toy exclusive, limited to 1,000 units. 1,000 units because an additional special box sleeve and a Hot Toys exclusive version that's limited to 1,500 units. This is the new Darth Maul concept collectible figure, just showing the future Sith Lord in his training gear. It looks immense. However, can't remember who it was, but someone on social media messaged me and was talking about this. They showed me a picture of Homer Simpson and compared it to this collectible, and I cannot unsee it for the life of me. So yeah, hilarious. Star Wars Outlaws, probably the most underrated Star Wars game in my opinion, is coming to the Nintendo Switch. So make sure you get that if you've only got a Nintendo Switch. Highly recommend. Some
So
new
much fun.
Funkos are dropping as well. We've got Kylo, we've got Rey, Darth Vader, and Mando, and they are looking hot. Inspired by Japan. They're actually amazing.
I'm
Big,
getting all four of these.
yeah, big
Like,
fan of the Darth Vader one.
yeah, that looks, that's funny because I've been doing our research, and I forgot to say that I was going to say during our Force Encounters was that I learned how a one-eyed dragon inspired Darth Vader, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah,
But if you look at the armor that's on there,
Ooh.
oh, can't wait.
yeah.
So if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about, come to the panel at Celebration.
Nice little plug. And the next thing we've got as well
looks so good.
is some new lounge flies, also known in my world
Ooh.
as a backpack. Yeah, looking good. Personally, not for me. Jimmy, go on.
Yeah, I wish that I was. Well, I wish I could pull this off. If I'm being perfectly honest, because I love these backpacks, man. They're so fun and so cool, but I just don't think it works on a 50-year-old man with lots of gray in his beard.
Yeah, no, I'd have to
See,
agree.
firstly, Jimmy, you would slay, first and foremost. Secondly, I literally put these on here for me because I'm a huge Loungefly fan. I have two, and I think Sydney has three or four now at some point, and most of hers are Star Wars, and both of mine are Star Wars as well. So I want
You would
that
rock
chopper
these, Charlie.
so badly. Thank you.
You
I
would
feel
rock
like
these.
I need chopper for when I'm dressed as Hera.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I love the fact it lights up as well. That's a nice little addition. And fully enough as well, as I was driving down to
Please.
camp tonight and I pulled out my ID card, my wallet is like literally falling apart. And obviously there's a lightsaber zip around a wallet. So yeah, tempting. Lots of new merch coming out. And we've still got lots of other news. What else have we got in the news section, Charlie?
Oh goodness, guys. In other news, sad beeps, buddy. Oscar Isaac can no longer attend Star Wars Celebration due to a scheduling conflicts.
Yeah,
And now,
just
if
say what
anybody
it
knows
is. Yeah.
anything about what scheduling conflicts means, it means he's got another movie coming up, and it's definitely 100% going to be Doomsday, and we are definitely 100% going to be seeing Moon Knight again.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
I'm
happening.
fine.
I think that's happening. It's
I
annoying though.
well, think
Which is
about this. He was sold
frustrating
out.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
So all those
3 hours
people,
before it was announced that he wasn't coming, he sold out.
yeah.
Good luck
So
sorting that mess, Reed Pop.
yeah, I mean, it happened to me in Chicago. I mean, they'll refund. They'll do a good job because it's. I think I don't know which company it is because I know it's Repop, like subcontracted. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on. But the guy who plays Bodie Rook, and I can't think of his actual name, he kind of flaked out at Chicago,
Mm.
and then of course Peter Mayhew got sick, and I was like, oh no, I'm never gonna get this guy's autograph now. And unfortunately, I was correct. But yeah, I mean, you think about this too, like one of the bigger names, not that many stars coming as you know, comparison to a
The
the last
London.
couple celebrations.
Yeah.
So that's a big loss for a lot of people who are
Huge.
excited. I mean, some people just, I mean, I mean, I've seen people post on Star Wars Celebration. They
Yeah.
have like this sheet of all the things, all the signatures and autographs, and that's great if that's what your jam is. But that's a bummer. That's a big one to not get, especially if you're trying to collect and complete, you know, like the pre
Yeah.
or the sequel trilogy characters and things like that. Like that's a tough one to get, especially if you live in Japan. So
What grips
but
me though is how did the agent or whoever it is that does his bookings not know this? Like surely Marvel not just dropped this on the last like month or so.
I mean it happens often, or they'll just get pulled for something. I mean, they have these contracts,
Hmm.
you know, with Marvel, which is under the Disney umbrella. You think they could have worked it out? You can't tell me Moon Knight's going to be that big. I mean, I love Moon Knight. It's one of my favorite
Oh,
Disney Plus because I had no idea about the character, and
yeah. Same.
it actually makes me
Best
madder about
character.
the Poe character because I'm
Mm.
like, look how great of an actor Oscar Isaac is, and all you let
So
him do
good.
is scream
So good. So
during
good.
the sequel trilogy. But you can't tell me that Moon Knight, a character I really liked and enjoyed, is going to be that big of a part of Doomsday.
Mm,
Like seriously, do you think that he's
I
going to
don't
with
know.
that many people, that many stars? I don't know. I feel like they could have probably worked it out, but whatever. It's a
Yeah.
bummer.
What other news we got, Jimmy?
Tales of the Underworld was announced with a trailer showing more Cat Bane and more Asajj. Head over to YouTube. Charlie and I were able to hop on and dive into that. We got about a 20-minute video, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
just kind of dissecting it, our thoughts and our feelings. And if I remember correctly, we both screamed in excitement. So that's how we think about. That's
Yeah,
what
we
we think
did.
about it. Yeah,
And it's not actually 20 minutes of like reasonable adult discussion. It's just 20 minutes of us screaming. So go and enjoy that. It's really good to fall asleep to.
put it on your favorites list.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nice. Nice. Okay, right. That's it for this week's news, and let's head over to the main show. Okay, so this week we are going to be chatting Andor in the build up to season 2.
I think we can argue that Andor was the first Star Wars story in a long time to accurately and effectively recapture the magic that George created. Now, what I mean by that, and I'm not going to sit here and beat a dead horse. This is something I've talked about a lot. I'm sure you guys have talked a lot about through various recaps of the season when it was on. But George Lucas used Star Wars as a lens to comment on the state of politics at the time. And Tony Gilroy did not hold back in season one by any stretch of the imagination. It was relevant, hard hitting, and I fully expect him to go just as hard for season two. I feel like there's been so much going on recently, so much post writers' strike, that this is a perfect canvas to start tackling those issues. I want to talk a very, very brief retrospective of season one. Can you guys remember your thoughts going into the show versus how you were feeling towards the end when it finished?
Good question. Do you want to start, Jimmy?
Sure. I mean, I love Rogue One, like I think most Star Wars fans. So I was super excited for the show, and every week I could find myself sitting on the edge of the couch, just watching the screen, getting closer to the screen, and then they have those awful, awful cliffhanger endings and drive me insane. And just him walking, and also, dude,
Yeah.
it's done. And I mean, those are about the only thing I ever was really mad about. I love storytelling. I love the slow grind of it. I love how real it was. And so for me, like season one, I mean, I feel like they wrote a story, then they put it into Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, and granted, we know that some of that drives that story, but yeah, absolutely loved it. I cannot wait for season two. I'm excited to talk about it. Um, but yeah, there's just so many. I got a rewatch in. It's wow. The monologues, the acting. I mean, it's probably the
Yeah.
best acted Star Wars. There's no,
Mhm.
some I love the cheesy stuff in Star Wars too, but it doesn't have a place in Andor. Like that's what we talked about. Like, will like Hera show up in Andor? You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
weird because they're in the same universe, but they don't fit together in the
Mm.
context of how Ahsoka looked and how Andor looked.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I want more of this. I want Clone Wars in this style. I want the Battle of Mimban in this style. Like I want
Yeah.
more and more and more and more Andor. So yeah, I loved it. I can't wait for season two. What
Yeah.
about you,
Yeah.
Jackie boy?
I'm exactly the same as you, mate. Rogue One was such a it's up there as one of my favorite Star Wars films of all time. It's hands down the best live action Star Wars TV show by an absolute country mile, in my opinion. Andor's absolutely amazing. You already mentioned the dialogue. Some of the one-liners in there, some of the quotes in there are going to live on through Star Wars history. Some of the characters as well that we've never even met before or was any mention of, they're going to live on. And just some of the shots as well, like on location, are just stunning. Um, and like Jimmy said, yeah, it definitely left me wanting a heck of a lot more. What about you, Charlie?
I love those points, by the way. Thank you so much, both of you. I really vividly remember when Andor started. I think I was still feeling a little bit burnt from a couple of the other Star Wars shows. I hadn't really gotten on with the Book of Boba Fett and me and the Mandalorian. It was hot and cold, on and off. And I remember watching it, and like Jimmy, the more it went on, the more and more I got into it, the more I was like, "This is incredible. This is." Nobody was talking about it. People
Yeah,
were actively avoiding watching it. People weren't interested. People weren't bothered. It wasn't for them. It was too cold. It was too hardcore. It was too adult. And I remember getting to the end of the series and not having anyone to speak to about it. It was insanely good, so underrated, so overlooked. And then Star Wars seems to have this pattern where something really, really good will come out, and people who've watched it and engaged will be like, "You need to watch this." The amount of people I've told
yeah,
you
yeah,
need to watch Andor. You don't like Star Wars, but you need to watch Andor.
yeah, yeah,
And
100%.
now seeing this resurgence for season two is making me so happy, seeing so many people on board, so many people excited. But I think, yeah, that was really interesting for me. I came out the end of it so excited, but didn't have anyone to talk. I didn't have you guys.
Well, we've got lots to look forward to now when it's releasing 3 episodes at a time. It's,
Yeah,
it's
that's
going to be
Mind blowing.
exciting because
Yeah,
that was
too
really
much.
honestly, it's too much, but I love it because then you don't have any. I feel like each week's gonna kind of end. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna have a
yeah,
beginning
yeah,
and a middle end, like the arcs
Hmm.
did, and
Yeah.
some of that stuff will carry over because it can't be that much, but I feel like you can get a full, complete like movie. I don't know. I mean, I love it for the content. I hate it for the breakdowns.
yeah. No, but that's completely fair point as well, because there was that article. I know we were talking about it off air, weren't we, Charlie? About Tony Gilroy. He's put
Hmm.
five years into one season, hasn't he?
Yes. So initially in the interview, I'm sure you guys remember this when Andor was initially being sort of talked about and announced, and there were rumors and whispers
Mm,
amongst the community that it was going to be 5 seasons, and for every season we were going to get 1 year closer to the events of Rogue One.
yeah.
And in this article, Tony Gilroy very candidly talks about the fact that they reached the end of season one and realized just how much had gone into it, how much money, how much time, how much effort, how much work for him, for the directors, everybody. And he realized that that just was not sustainable over a long term. Disney would have absolutely supported it, I'm sure, but which is now why we have this interesting arrangement of season two where we've got our 4 years, our next four
Mm,
years of the story up till Rogue One, but three
yeah.
episodes every week. Oh my goodness, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I
It's
It's intense.
I
It's
think they're gonna be
intensive.
long. I think it's gonna be like close to 3 hours. I hope it's close to 3 hours. Like
Yeah.
just 45-minute episodes. Get us, just
yeah.
give us the
Please.
story, please, please, please.
Yeah, so we've got a whole bunch of topics we're going to cover. And as always, you, the listeners and the viewers, have given us your responses. So listen out for your shout outs as we go throughout. So let's dive in then to this week's main topic. So starting us off then, we put out there what were your guys' favourite moments from season one? What really stuck with you after all this time? We had some fantastic fan responses to start us off. So, starting us off this week, RTE Darth came in and said Kino Loy's one way out speech and Marva's fight the Empire speech. I'm getting the feeling our friend is a big fan of those sort of monologues. Darren Briscoe also mentioned Luthen's monologue stands out for him, going along with the jailbreak and the battle at the end of the last episode. We'll come to you, Jimmy. Was there any standout moments for yourself, buddy?
Yeah, I mean Luthen's monologue where he talks about giving up everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just there's times where I'll just watch that monologue. Like I get goosebumps watching it. And one that doesn't get as much play is when, and I love the action, like the action scenes. I mean, when we got action, they did it really, really well.
Yeah.
But when Cassian's trying to get Marva to leave with him, and he's like, "But I'll miss you and I'll worry about you," and she goes, "That's just love, isn't it?" And I was like, I mean, I got just saying, I got goosebumps thinking about that scene. Like, you're like, damn, that is love. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, that was just like, I don't know, it's so well written. But there's so many, just Nemec and some of the titles, like the tree remembers. I mean, there's just so many things about this show, and I don't want to get political, but we're in a state in our country right now where things are kind of crazy, and it's over. Being a little dramatic to think it's the empire or whatever, but it does feel like it's kind of coming a time where people need some reassurances and things like that. And but yeah, I just
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful, yeah, just absolute cameo. Not cameos, but the monologues, the heart of this show, insane.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Totally agree. Charlie, any standout moments for you?
Um, where do I even start? Oh my goodness. Um, the eye, that visually was absolutely breathtaking. Jimmy, if your rewatch scene is Luthen's monologue, that is mine as somebody who enjoys that kind of visual feast on screen. And I'm
oh
very
yeah,
lucky to have quite a big, quite a flashy television, and getting to see it in such like high resolution was absolutely, I think we turned all of the lights off. We were all just absolutely
Nice.
plastered to the sofa with just how incredible it was. Um, Special mentions for the monologues. Obviously, I think we keep coming back to this for all of the finesse of that Star Wars aesthetic, for all of the visual lushness of Andor, for the incredible directing and the scene compositions. I think the writing is something that continues to shine. I've seen those monologues quoted many, many times. They are endlessly relevant. Specific and special mentions to Nemec, especially his manifesto when it's read out kind of as a voiceover during the end of the Aldani heist.
Mhm.
Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. There are so many just parts of it that are absolutely sensational writing. I loved Cassian. I loved Bix. Marva's speech at the end.
Yeah.
Also, something that else that's really, really stuck with me was specifically the shot of all of the gloves on the wall in Ferrex.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, Yeah, for sure.
They're absolutely fantastic. I think a lot of the dialogue does carry the show as well. For me, again, going with the eye episode. I'm trying to think of the guy's name now. Karis, the young lad with like the hat that was talking to Cassian when he was telling him how anxious he was. That was a really, really
Oh, it's
touching scene,
Nemec.
I thought. Yeah,
Oh,
Karis
Nemec.
Nemec.
Yeah.
Karis Nemec. And also another bit that stood out for me. I love the Narkina art. That was fantastic. But I also really loved when Sergeant Linus and his men were accompanying Finger
Oh,
down to the
geez,
planet and
yeah.
giving his
Girl,
speech.
everyone's
Yeah,
like, forget
cheers.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah. So
much.
there's so many standout moments. But yeah, the eye episode I think for me was probably my favorite episode and a moment. Yeah,
I think
that's what I'm gonna go with.
having that space kind of in the middle, like it almost kind of
Mm,
simulates those feelings of an act three. Yet
yeah,
it it was such a perfect step up. It was such a perfect kind of escalation, and I think it prepped us so beautifully for the prison escape,
yeah,
which propels us immediately into what's going to happen into season two. And I think just it's an absolute masterclass in storytelling. I remember vividly a lot of the criticism leveled at Andor in the beginning was it's too slow. Um,
It's
I
building the
don't I
show.
don't have
Yeah,
the
like
patience
it's
to sit here and do this. Have
yeah,
some
yeah,
patience. Obviously,
yeah,
we've all been rotted by the streaming era where we get everything all at once and can binge it. Andor is
yeah,
not a story for that. It takes time. It needs crafting. It needs layers and work.
yeah,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. I just the truth in some of the writing, like Marva's line, like I said
Mhm.
about, that's love. Nemec, like yours thing, Jack, when you said about to be able to deliver that line or to even write that line, you have to have some understanding of what, like you're in the military, you know what happens when it's time to go. You know what I mean? I've never
Yeah,
live action, like, I never went into engagement, but when we practice, you're sitting there, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you've been up for a day and a half and you're getting ready to go. And just practicing it, you're like, boom, you're on. You have no idea how long it takes, and you see what it
yeah,
just a realization and some of the stuff that how it ties into so many things. Luthen's having to sacrifice, all that stuff, and then his engagement with Saw and stuff like that. I don't know. There's just so much. I want to go back upstairs and just rewatch the whole season. I might just rewatch it on the way to
Yeah,
Japan,
same.
just,
I am.
just for
I
whatever.
am.
Yeah, like I just, man, it is. And I get it. It's slow. Like we had friends who didn't like it because their kids didn't like it, which I understand. I can see why
Yeah,
they wouldn't, but they will when they get older.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Cool. What else we got,
You can
Jimmy?
come
All
back to
right.
it. That's fine.
Yeah. So next we're gonna ask. We asked about cameos. If yes, then who? When do we think we'll see? Like, who do we think we'll see? Crimson Cosplay says it would be great to see Guy Henry as Moff. He did a stellar job in Rogue One and deserves more screen time and recognition for his role. Could we see Bale again? Those are really good ones. Artie Darth says Darth Vader
Mhm.
won't make an appearance in the show, but he will be mentioned at least. The scene in the second trailer in which Daedra gets force choked is supposed to mislead us. I would agree.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
I
Mhm.
think she's just having a panic attack. Someone who suffered
Yeah,
panic attacks.
Yes.
Darren Briscoe. I'm hoping for Palpatine and Vader. Palpatine would be a great one. Tarkin takes over from Krennic with regard to the Death Star, but it's Krennic's baby all the way up to Rogue One. Seen in the canon book Catalyst and the prequel story to that film. So I doubt Tarkin will be in it. I'd be joyous if anyone appears. Can we have a Vader massacre scene too, please, for the spectacle? Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool.
that would be
Little
cool.
warm up sesh before he gets to the end of Rogue One, cutting down some
Yeah,
fools.
Mhm.
that'd be awesome.
I think for me, now it's hard to figure out where the timelines of like when things happen in Star Wars Rebels and when
Yeah.
things are happening in because I
Yeah.
think these things are happening congruently with each other. Like, they're flowing. I always tell my kids as a
Mhm.
history teacher, we have all these things happening going this way and they're all stacked on top of each other and eventually
Mm,
it all adds up and it makes an event. We don't ever see it coming and things like that.
yeah.
When we're teaching history, but I would love to see the ghost. Like I would love to see when Mon finally calls the Emperor out, like we see in Rebels, and they have to pick her up. Again, I don't think I think I don't know why this bothers me so much, but I feel like if we see Hera, and I think she looks amazing. Like I love
Mm,
Hera. Like she's one of my favorite characters. For some reason, it just doesn't seem like it blends itself to this show. And I could be wrong, maybe if it happens, but at least give me the back of the ghost and Chopper and her like getting
mm,
escorted to it or something, so we know like that's when that happened in Rebels, kind of thing. That
yeah,
honestly, I don't know why that has stuck out to me. Like just bringing that together, bringing that Rebels show, which is beloved by most people who have watched it, and pulling it in there and like trying to figure out a way to do it. I just don't think Tony. He's on the record saying like, yeah, he doesn't care about Star Wars. I think he cares a little bit more. I think he's invested in this store and he wants to do it right. I think but
yeah,
I just don't see him busting out. I mean, I think like Bale. That's not. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't he show up? You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Smits, like who doesn't love Jimmy Smits? But I don't know. For me personally, if I could get the ghost just as she's running off at the end or something,
Mhm.
I think that would be an amazing cameo in itself. I don't think we're getting Cal Kestis. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. People are saying that.
no,
That sounds insane to me. Would I love it if it fit the story? But I don't think this is a place for Cal Kestis to come flipping out of the screen. So, what do you guys think of
yeah.
cameos, though?
Mm.
Go on, Charlie.
So this is a really interesting one. I think we we didn't have cameos per se, like actual physical cameos very much in Andor. What we did have were like all of the bits and pieces in Luthen's art shop. We had Starkiller's like armor in the
Mm,
back and like a Gungan shield. We had that kind of Easter egg slash cameo, hints and nods to things in the wider universe, even though Andor's quite a contained story. I think Tony Gilroy understands what, and I don't mean this derogatory in the slightest, but what constitutes as a cheap cameo. We get the Vader reveal in Rogue One. Doing any kind of Vader reveal in Andor would really, really diminish what happens
yeah,
in Rogue One. I think it would massively, massively take
Excellent
the
great
point.
the
point.
power away from that scene. So if we do get Vader, it will most likely be a mention in a name. We might see like
Mm,
a bit of cape round a corner. We might see half a silhouette, or maybe the closest we'll even get. Like obviously, we see the Death Star in the trailer. That may be as close as we get. I think the closest Mr. Gilroy would come to a cameo is maybe Moff Tarkin, maybe, or possibly, like Jimmy said, the Ghost, the back of Hera, Chopper, something
mm,
a little smaller, a little more subtle. He doesn't seem to be one for like big. Well, bam! Here's that character that you know and love and like.
yeah,
I don't think we'll see Jin. I've seen that suggested. Cal
So,
Kestis would be great, but also doesn't make sense narratively, doesn't necessarily make sense why.
yeah,
So yeah, I think maybe it will either be Moff Tarkin, maybe Galen Erso.
mm,
I was gonna bring that up. That
That
totally,
seems to
yeah, that
be
would.
that's my most reasonable prediction is I think if we're going to see anybody, we will most likely either see Galen Erso or a nod, a mention of Jin.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wouldn't you love it if we got Galen working and he secretly has like a holograph of young Jin or something like that, and he's just kind of like looking at it and then
Yes.
puts it away real
That's
quick or something.
mm,
That's enough, right? Like you,
that
like if
feels
he,
very
yeah.
Tony Gilroy.
yeah, like he doesn't have to be overbearing. And I mean, who doesn't want more Mads Mikkelsen?
Mm.
Like he's
I know, right?
phenomenal. So
Yeah, no, there's some great
Okay.
shouts. I hope we get Palps. I'd love to see Palpatine in the Senate scene.
that would be
Maybe
awesome.
that's when we'd
Oh.
see Vader stood next to him on the platform. Maybe, unless he's away.
Oh.
I feel
Slaying
like we get like
Jedi's. I don't know.
Masamita and Sly Moore or something like that, like
Yeah,
standing there maybe.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
So I'd be down with that. I'm down with a bit of Palps for that. I'd like to see a young Jin Erso, perhaps with Saw Gerrera, because
Mm.
obviously he takes her on. Uh, I'd also be down to see a bit of Bodhi before he
Oh,
turned
that's a good one.
traitor.
There
I
you go.
think I think that'd be a sly little
What if
cameo.
what if we got that relationship a little bit between him and Galen? Like,
Yeah,
does that fit? You know what I mean? Like Galen giving Bodhi like you can still make a difference kind of thing speech.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause, I mean, it'd come later in the seasons, I'm assuming, or in the series, but that would be awesome, wouldn't it? They get to see that.
yeah. Because I don't think we find out why Bodhi deflected in the first place. So I think there's loads of
Mm.
things you could do there where the news about Ferrix gets out and it turns out that was his home planet. or obviously got the massacre, and that was his home plot. Whatever, it's easy to write in. So seeing have a little flyby with Bodhi and his Imperial shuttle or whatever be absolutely down for. I think. Yeah.
One more. We see Scarif.
Mm.
Oh,
Ooh, please. That would be so good.
do we see Mustafar?
Ooh. I mean, we'd get Vader then, and I still just don't think that we're going to get to see him. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's so much fun. We will have a spreadsheet that I'm going to send out. People can
Yeah.
select their answers, like we did for the last show, which was Skeleton Crew. So
Telling crew.
get that done. Yeah, my gosh, it's crazy, right? How much time we spend on these things, and it's like there's just so much in our brains. But yeah, any final cameos?
Nah, I think I'm happy with those three I've chosen. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm
I
good.
think, yeah, same. I think if I suggest it any more, my head will simply explode with excitement. Now, next up is everyone's favorite weapon in the galaxy. It's the lightsaber. Are we going to see any? Are we fussed if we do or we don't? Bestie Pookie, bestie Crimson Cosplays Matt said, as for lightsabers, I think it's great that we have a show that doesn't use them. As cool as they are, I think being able to take that break from them really helps the overall story actually feel like a war.
Yeah,
Really solid point. Really, really solid point. And
great point.
Darren Briscoe says, wouldn't bother me if one showed up held by Vader, preferably. See, we're here with the Vader again. Darren, come on now. Come on, be sensible. But ultimately, he doesn't think that they're needed. Guys, how are we feeling? Jimmy, how do you feel about this?
I don't think we need it. Um, because as soon as you do that, it takes away from the common man fighting this war, even though they don't know
Yeah,
what they're up
yeah,
against in
Yes.
Palpatine, right? Like, because at this time period, it's my understanding that Vader's like a mystery figure. He's not, when you run into him, there's not many people left to talk about it, right? He's not like,
yeah.
he's not sent out on mission. Like, he's handling things. He's with the Inquisitors and, all these different things that they're
Mm,
doing.
mm,
I don't feel like it has a place in the show. I haven't had a ton of time to think about where it's going to go, but I don't, I honestly, I don't feel like there's anywhere in that. And Charlie, you made an excellent point. If Vader shows up and does something, I do think it takes away in the fact, like, holy, I mean, think about the explodes that flew out of your mouth when you saw the light at the end of the tunnel and it was Vader's
yeah,
saber. He had no idea what was about to happen. And so I'm going to say I don't want it to happen because I feel like this takes away from the common man standing up. And again, I know
yeah,
they don't know what Palpatine is, they don't understand that. So, no, I'm going to say there's not. But if they fit it in, I mean, who doesn't love a lightsaber?
yeah. Nah, the same as you, Jimmy. Who doesn't love a
So,
lightsaber? I don't think they will. I don't think they need to. And like you said, this is the common man. This isn't Jedi versus Sith or anything like that. So I'm happy. I'm happy. There's not going to be any lightsabers. What about you, Charlie?
I absolutely have to agree. I think a hugely special part of Andor is the way that it feels. As much as we all want to be Jedi and we all want to be Sith, Andor is very much the story for like us, for the
Yeah,
people, for the working people, for the people on the ground. And I think lightsabers would again take away from some of that realness and that grittiness. And
yeah,
it's very much one of those tools that means like, oh well, the fight's yours now. Oh, you're gonna win. I,
mm,
ah, there we go. There's the winner. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it needs that human struggle, and lightsabers take away an element of that struggle always.
yeah,
As beautiful and wonderful, as magical as they are, I think this show does not need them, and I think Tony Gilroy will understand that. Was there even a lightsaber in Luthen's shop? I don't think there was. There were holograms,
There
no,
was
and
stuff
yeah,
there
I don't
were
think there was.
referencing
holocrons even, and there were a bunch of other things.
uh, Star Killer, right? Wasn't there like something from Star Killer, like some kind of
Oh
different?
yeah, the
There was the
like the
Or,
staff
helmet, the
weapon.
Starkiller
Yeah,
helmet, and the
yeah,
but
armor,
yeah, I'm
which
sitting
is
here like as you guys
crazy.
are talking, trying to think of a scenario where we would see a saber in this
Yeah.
show, like thinking about season one, like you said, and I just unless it's like Vader like mowing down fools, and then he's like, Palps is like, "Hey,
yeah,
get back here, I need you," or something. But that doesn't make any sense. Like, how does that fit into anything? Or
yeah,
they use him to like blame the rebels, try to like propaganda, like they send Vader in to like mess something up, and then they try to pin it on the rebels or something to get like sympathy for the Empire. But I just,
Mm.
and I'm not as smart or as creative as the men and women that work on this show, so I'm not going to sit there and overthink it. But I just don't see a scenario where a lightsaber makes any sense. But if a group
Yeah.
of people can do it, it would be these writers.
Yeah. No, good points, Jimmy. Good points.
All right. Okay. Are we good then? So everyone, no lightsabers.
No
No
lightsabers.
lightsabers. All right.
No.
Here we go. Prediction time. How wrong can we be? So we asked everybody what they thought was going to happen in season 2. Crimson says, I think we'll get something quite similar to what we had with Senator Chuchi in the Bad Batch. Oh, that's a really good shout. But Mon Mothma,
Great shout.
yeah. Wouldn't that be? Never mind. I'm not going to go on the tangent. Especially after the speech she's going to deliver, Lieutenant Chamber Squirrel. All Saver cereal. He's going to eat cereal. I think that is probably going to
Mhm.
happen.
Safe bet.
Steve, our favorite dealing in absolute says, I'd love to have a check back on Andy Serkis' character. I need closure. I need to see him try. Oh boy. I said that I feel that he's at the bottom of the lake. So I don't think she liked that response very much. He says he
No.
can't swim. That's a long way, folks. I'm a swim coach. I know these things. It'll take me out of it completely if he shows up. There's no way he could have survived. Artie Dar says we're going to see scenes in the final episode that lead up to Cassian and Jin's meeting. Darren says Cyril is looking flummoxed in the trailer. Maybe the Empire is too much for even him. Will he do a switch and join the rebellion only to die for his cause? Maybe going down in glory with his cereal bowl in hand, cereal bowl and spoon. I think we need the Emperor, if not Vader, to make an appearance. It doesn't have to be major, but significant appearance. Yeah, I think when she's like yelling and she talks about the animal coming for us all, it would be awesome if Palpatine was there. Bix and all of Andor's friends, I predict, are not going to make it. That's a pretty good shout. If they do, then 3 cheers for the rebellion, but Andor's demeanor in Rogue One is one of distance and indifference. Maybe he loses. Maybe his losses, made him this way. Nobody has mentioned Andor's sister in all of this. He was searching for her in the very first episode. Will his search be resolved? Will he find it? He's on opposite sides as her. And that's what I was thinking. Charlie, was
Yeah.
it you who brought her up? Clea? No, Clea is that's the girl. That's the woman who like helps Luthen, right? Clea is. These are all great.
So one of the biggest
Go ahead.
one
Sorry.
of the big Andor theories is that Clea is Andor's sister. Because, right, go with me here. This is a thread of a seed of a plot that was planted in the beginning of season 1. Wait. Exact. They've never actually met each other. They've never seen each other face to face. When you look at Clea as an adult and compare her to Andor's sister as a child, there's definitely, I would argue, some casting similarities. I'd absolutely argue that. And for it to be anybody else at this point that we don't know and haven't met yet doesn't make sense narratively. It feels like for this big twist, it has to be somebody that we already know and have already met in the story.
Hmm.
I feel like I've broken Jimmy.
Yeah, just broke the internet there with that.
I don't. Wow. That never even crossed my mind. Would it be too on the nose? Like if they're
See,
both there doing,
maybe.
you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not mad about it if it happens and there's a good like how she got off the planet and who she was raised by.
Yeah.
The flashback of her getting off the planet. Is there a reason that Marva told him to stop looking because she knows something he doesn't?
That's another good
Mhm.
shout.
Do you see
Charlie,
when you piece it together, it actually
my
makes a
head
lot of
is.
sense.
I'm not going to be able to sleep again tonight. Now, thank you, Charlie. That's nuts. I never even thought about it because she has that same demeanor and that same like getting
Yeah.
beep done, as Andor does. Oh, I love it. I don't know if it's too much, like too much of a, like just like, oh, by the
Maybe.
way, I'm your sister. You know what I mean? Like that's nuts. That's a great one.
Mhm.
Wow. What
Thank
else do we
you
got? I can't
immensely,
even.
Darren Briscoe, for mentioning that.
Yeah, I can't even. I can't even. Go ahead, Jack, because I need a minute to
Yeah.
recover.
Yeah. I think with this whole season we're going to see a different side to the rebellion. And the reason I think this, right, obviously we've got the whole massacre thing happening. I think it's going to be a bit of, I think the rebellion going to start their own spark. And I think it's going to change people's outlooks and perspective on the rebellion as well. Because obviously there's two sides, the Empire and the rebels. And I think if this is done correctly, I think it could change people's outlook on Rogue One and
Mhm.
potentially the originals. Now, you imagine if this has that impact where you actually think, you know what, the Empire's actually trying to do good. Imagine the outcry and the impact it'd have on the original films. Like, you would then have this group of terrorists blowing up a space station full of innocent people. You know, it could go as far as that. Probably not go as far as that, but I think it's definitely going to have a major impact on how people view the rebellion, though, for sure. I think a lot of characters are sadly going to be going away. It wouldn't surprise me if all the people that went with Cassian are gone, and it's because
Mhm.
of Cassian as well. I think we're going to see a
Yeah.
dark side to Cassian, and I think Luthen's going to be pulling the strings on that, having to get things to move forward quickly. Um, yeah, so I'm going to go with my prediction for this is lots of people are going to be dying, very dark, and I think we're going to see a whole new perspective of the Rebel Alliance that people might find quite shocking.
Yeah, I think I man, I
Yeah.
think you brought this up when you were on Fantha Tracks last week, and I thought, holy crap! Like, as a history teacher, I know what people have to do and have done to win wars, to start wars.
Oh yeah.
When the little man has to fight, the guerrilla tactics, um,
Mhm.
to win, like you have to do things. I
Absolutely.
mean, there's so many rumors, and again, I'm not. This is not coming from me. Like this is just as a history teacher. People think that like FDR let Pearl Harbor happen to get the U.S. involved in the war because he was gearing up for it, right? Some people even
Mm.
think that like 9/11, and I don't want to think that our government would ever do something like that, but they let it happen because they wanted a reason to react. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's real life stuff, but oh my gosh, could you imagine
It could be an absolute game changer as well. Again,
Yeah.
forgive me, I don't know the quote off by heart, but Luthen even said about, using the Empire's
using the
tactics
tactics of
against
enemies
them.
against them?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
It's damned
it's
to you.
all there.
Yeah, I think that all the people die because I think Andor, he is
Mm.
standoffish. He is.
Yeah.
I think they're going to give us enough Bix to get us all like, oh, they're in love, and then right, like they're going to give us the tech treatment with Bix.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yep.
all toast. I think I would love it if this. I don't think that him and Jin will like that. That won't happen. I think that he gets right to
Mm.
where he shoots that guy in the back. I think that the
Mm.
final cut scene is him walking towards to have that happen. I think that's the end.
Yeah.
And then you could
Yeah, I
just turn
think
on a
so.
Rogue One and bam, it starts. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
bam. So yeah, um having read Mask of Fear, and you see the stuff that with Saw, with Bale, and with Mon Mothma,
Yeah.
because that's going on a little bit too, like we're a little bit prior to this.
Mhm.
Man, oh, that would be huge. Be huge, huge, huge. So I don't know as far as predictions. I don't know. I think this is going to be a great story. I don't. I was wondering about was it Daedra and Cyril? Do they flip? Like she looks like every time we've seen her, she looks like she is stressed out. They only shown her
Yeah,
like
she's
twice,
struggling.
right?
Mhm.
Her head's up
Yeah.
against the window where she looks like "What have I done?" kind of look, and then
Mm.
where she's
Mm.
like trying to take off her collar because she's freaking out. Maybe she's ordered something to happen. She seems like the type of person who would try to start this massacre to try to pin it on the rebels or something like that too, though. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's that kind of devious, and I think maybe that backfires on her or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah,
Well,
wow, those are all great, great, great.
correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it her that let the funeral happen on Ferrix, so
She
we could
did.
see the
They
fallout?
wanted to. Well, they wanted
She
to
could.
draw
Yes.
Cassian out. They thought that he would return for it, and she.
Yeah.
So she. I don't think she thought I was going to get out of hand like it did, but and then
No.
of course Cyril
So
saves her, and they're going to be was that Stockholm syndrome? Is that what it is when you fall in love with your
yeah.
the psycho that saves your
Mhm.
That's
kidnaps you.
it.
So
So we might see the fallout of if you do something wrong to that sort of degree, the fallout from that. That could be why
oh
she's so stressed out.
yeah, I wonder if like she's out quick. Do you know what I mean? Like, is she just? I mean, is that like why we've only seen her twice? It's like they're just gonna force choke her and she's
Mhm.
toast.
Mm.
Vader shows up, crack. Don't choke in your aspirations.
Yeah,
Crunch.
the record speaks for itself. Right. Any more predictions?
It's gonna be
Nothing
great.
from you,
My
Jimmy,
prediction.
Charlie? Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's
Right,
just
the
gonna be
next
great. It's
one.
gonna be brilliant.
Yeah, that's a solid prediction. The next and final one then is everyone's favorite one. Is favorite character. Obviously, we're talking about season 1 and also season 2 because a lot of our characters are coming back. Crimson Cosplay has gone for favorite character. Has to go to Cassian, of course. Diego does a fantastic job with him, and it's hard to imagine someone else playing the character. I completely agree there. Okay, yeah. So I do absolutely agree. I can't imagine anyone else being Cassian apart from Diego Luna. He absolutely owns that character, just like Mark Hamill does Luke Skywalker. For me, favorite character. Um, well, controversial one for me, I think, but I'm gonna have to go for Saw Gerrera. That guy is my boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, big fan of Saw Gerrera. Forrest Whitaker's an amazing actor as well. Like he absolutely pulled it off in Rogue One. So I'm really, really
Yes.
excited to see more of Saw Gerrera. Big fan. Um, Followed closely probably by B2. Everyone's new favorite droid when he
Solid
first arrived on
choice.
the scene. Yeah. So for me, the favorite character for me, I'm going to go for is going to be Saw Gerrera. Charlie, what about you?
Oh, all of my favorite characters are women, and that says so much about me as a person. Icon, Queen Legend, Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Absolutely hands down, Genevieve O'Reilly has been a standout of season 1, and I can guarantee you she's going to be the absolute standout of season 2. I know she was, I wouldn't say she was more of a background character in season 1. Like the narrative felt quite evenly split between the characters, but I feel like this season 2 she is going to dominate that storyline, and I am here for every single second of it. I absolutely am. Side mentions to Val and Cinta. I'm so happy to see them back again. Tony Gilroy, if you kill the space lesbians, you and I are going to have a problem. I need to make that very, very, very clear. I love them. Please don't separate them, break them up, or take them away from me. Thank you.
Jimmy, what have you
BMO.
got?
B2 emo. Look at him. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, right off the back, B2 emo. We know how I feel about. It blows my mind how they make us love a box with wheels, and
I
how they
know,
bring
right?
a box with wheels and make it have so much character and so much
So
just.
endearing.
He's so sweet. I just want to pick him up and give him a big hug and tell him it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Um, I love droids I, so much. I had to say, like in this show, Luthen and Mon probably haven't just read Mask of Fear, and I know what Mon
Mm,
Mothma goes through right after the fall of the Jedi and the end
yeah.
of that, and to see where she's going to be. And I love how we've taken a character that has like 5 seconds of screen time in the movies and have just built her out through the Clone Wars, through Rebels, and then of course, like you said, Genevieve O'Reilly just crushes it
Yeah.
in Rogue One. I had to say those two characters because I think they're so pivotal. I do think Saw might be the one who starts the Gorman massacre, possibly, but yeah, I think all three of them.
Yeah.
I just think spectacular. I wonder if, oh gosh, what's the guy who leads the ISB? It's
Um.
I can think of his
Oh
name right
God.
now. I loved his character. I love how succinct he was, and
Mm.
just how
Mm,
he's like a teacher. I mean, he's a terrible person because he's trying to take over the empire, but
yeah.
the
Yeah.
way he like instructed it was a Daedra or Deidre, Daedra, I think, right?
Yeah. Deidre. Yeah.
I think he's a really interesting character. I wonder if we'll get like more of him or Wolf Ularen will show up or something. But yeah, so those characters I really really love, and I that's the thing though is I love them all. I want to see them all of them, please, 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 and
Mhm.
more. All right, go ahead, Jack. You want to take us out?
Yes, thank you again so much to all the listeners for engaging in this week's main topic. Again, just keep an eye on the socials if you want to get your shout out.
All right. Huge thank you to everybody for the support. We love the numbers are climbing. We love the, on all of our area, YouTube and Instagram and all those other ones we do, that you guys keep following us, our Facebook page as well. We love having your guys' input. We want to know what you guys think. And sometimes you guys come up with some of the greatest ideas that, we just haven't thought about or whatever. And we just love giving you guys credit for it. We love how much people love Star Wars. Send us a DM, email us, send us a voice note, everything at exploretheforce.com.
And remember to like this episode and share it with your Star Wars friends and family. Follow us on all our social media platforms. All you have to do is search Explore the Force, all one word. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and super quickly, we have merch on Redbubble. Go and buy it. Go on. Go.
Yeah.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself and look cool.
There you go. Look the coolest. And for all of us, we have spoken. We'll see you guys next week.
To the rebellion. And the dream.
Only now, at the end, do you understand? Close your eyes. Feel it. I am a Senate.
As wise as Master Yoda, as powerful as Master Windu.
They'll do their job well. I'll guarantee that.
I am going to end this once and for all.
Sure. We're all
You are the chosen one!